Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into what is literally one of the most historic and frankly shocking events of our modern era. We're talking about the Pentagon files, the 2026 release of classified UAP documents by the US government. You know, for years, we've all heard the whispers, the rumors, the supposed leaks, but this data dump, it completely changes the game regarding what is actually flying around in our skies. So, what exactly is the Pentagon hiding? It's the ultimate question, right? The one that's captivated us for generations. For decades, the official government line was strict denial. They either ignored these strange sightings or investigated them very, very quietly behind closed doors. But now, that whole dynamic has flipped upside down. We've officially moved out of the era of blanket denial and straight into an era of unprecedented, albeit cautious, disclosure. And the sheer volume of this disclosure is just staggering. We're talking about a massive data dump of over 160 previously classified documents, images, and videos. And let's be clear, these aren't your typical blurry internet clips shot on some 2005 flip phone. No. These are highly sensitive records pulled directly from military pilots, NASA space missions, the FBI, and major intelligence agencies. It's an absolute treasure trove of data that researchers are just now beginning to unpack. Now, I know you guys are already familiar with the shift from UFO to UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena. It's the government's official catch-all for these bizarre objects hanging around military bases, war zones, and even outer space. But the crucial takeaway here is that officials are now publicly on the record admitting that some of these incidents are completely unexplained. Sure, they're being super careful to state there's no confirmed evidence of alien tech, but they fully concede these things absolutely defy our current technological understanding. And this isn't just some recent fad. These newly unsealed files map out a wild timeline. They trace the evolution of these anomalies all the way back to Cold War secrecy, right through some truly bizarre sightings during the Apollo and Gemini space missions. Fast forward to those viral Navy pilot videos that basically forced the government's hand, leading us directly to this massive 2026 release. It's a decades-long pattern finally laid bare for us to see. Section 1. Inside the shocking encounters. Okay, let's get right into the actual reports because some of these are going to blow your mind. One of the most intense files describes a nighttime military mission taking place near a highly classified, undisclosed government location. The pilots reported coming face-to-face with this glowing, super hot orb. But here's the kicker. According to the official file, this thing didn't drop down from the clouds. It literally just appeared, out of nowhere, right at ground level. The way this thing moved perfectly illustrates why these encounters are so baffling. The orb accelerated straight up into the sky at speeds that are just impossible. Witnesses stated it then abruptly split into multiple separate glowing pieces. The military jet trying to chase it down, which, mind you, is packed with some of the best aviation tech on the planet, absolutely could not keep up before the objects completely vanished. But it gets wilder, because these anomalies aren't just isolated to our atmosphere. They extend into the vacuum of space. Newly declassified NASA records reveal that astronauts on the Apollo 17 mission saw mysterious, bright flashes going off around their spacecraft, literally describing them like fireworks. Add to that some newly released photographs showing unidentified lights near the moon's surface, and it matches up perfectly with older, equally strange transcripts from the Gemini missions. Meanwhile, back down on Earth, the files are jam-packed with reports from highly trained fighter pilots. We're talking top-tier aviators operating in restricted airspace and active conflict zones. They're describing glowing white orbs, dark aerial objects, and those famous tic-tac-shaped crafts moving without any visible engines. They're pulling off impossible turns, instantly changing direction midair, and just hovering silently. And arguably the most alarming part for the military, pilots reported these crafts actively interfering with their systems and instantly dropping off advanced radar. Section 2. Investigating the unexplained. So with lawmakers, journalists, and the general public all basically screaming for answers, the Pentagon couldn't just drop these files and walk away. They had to act. Enter ARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. They stood up this entirely new division specifically to formally investigate these unexplained sightings, using the full, massive weight of U.S. military and intelligence sensors.
What's fascinating is how AAO's findings are split right down the middle. On one hand, officials point out that the vast majority of these cases do eventually get a mundane explanation. Commercial drones, stray weather balloons, optical illusions, or just a glitchy radar sensor having a bad day. Even secret, classified U.S. tech accounts for some of it. But, and this is a massive but, the government openly admits there is a persistent core of incidents that remain completely unresolved. Even after throwing their best scientific analysis at them, they've got nothing.
Naturally, this creates a huge divide. In one corner, you've got the skeptics and scientists who rightly demand hard, empirical proof. They believe ordinary explanations will eventually cover everything and warn against falling down the conspiracy rabbit hole. But in the other corner, you have former intelligence officers and whistleblowers swearing under oath, making truly extraordinary claims that the government is sitting on hidden knowledge of advanced, non-human craft. It's an absolute tug-of-war over what these files actually mean.
Section 3. The Enduring Mystery.
Really, what makes this 2026 release so incredibly pivotal isn't even just the sci-fi nature of the encounters themselves, it's the monumental shift in transparency. For the very first time in history, massive collections of UFO-related files are being handed over for public scrutiny. They are finally lifting the veil on decades of strict, airtight secrecy.
So as we, along with scientists and lawmakers, sift through this absolute mountain of data, we have to ask the hard questions. Could these objects simply be next-generation, hyper-classified technologies developed by the US in total secret? Or, perhaps more worryingly, are they incredibly advanced foreign surveillance systems, just casually penetrating restricted airspace with total impunity?
Or, hey, maybe we're approaching this with the wrong branch of science entirely. Could these be some kind of incredibly rare, totally undiscovered natural phenomena? Like bizarre atmospheric or electromagnetic anomalies that are just playing tricks on both the human eye and our billion-dollar military sensors?
Or, perhaps the most mind-bending possibility of all, are these completely unresolved files, the super-hot orbs, the Apollo flashes, the physics-breaking tic-tacs? Are they the very first pieces of undeniable, government-verified evidence that humanity is simply not alone in the universe? Right now, nobody truly knows the answer. But with the release of the 2026 Pentagon files, the real search for the truth is finally out in the open. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep looking up and stay curious.